Hey Zalivas, this is SUPERZOMGBBQ, and today we're going to talk about a wrestling event that just so happens to be happening tonight. I'm not sure what it is, but it's Fastlane? No, Fastlane. Yes, we're talking about Fastlane, which is now the annual event on the road to WrestleMania. Now, WrestleMania is coming very, very, very fast, but we need to talk about the event beforehand, which is going to have massive implications, and today we're going to talk about predictions. Considering the Royal Rumble one was so well received, well, not necessarily correct, sorry about that, last year, which is basically, we're going to push Roman Reigns and you're going to like it. We have now got a different event this year, which may end up very well being, we're going to push Roman Reigns and you're going to like it. Or we'll throw Dean Ambrose in there to make you happy, but hey. Anyway, let's look at all the events. We're going to talk about all the matches instead of just the main event this time. So I hope you guys enjoy this, and remember to leave a like if you want to see more predictions, and of course remember to leave your comments, and whether you disagree or agree or you have different predictions, let me know in the comment section below. The first match to look at is the pre-show, and this is between Alberto Del Rio and Kalisto. Now, me personally, I'm not going to be a fan of this match. I am still going to watch it, but Alberto Del Rio should be having this belt, and it's highly likely that he's not going to win it, because I personally feel that with WrestleMania coming up, there's only one thing they're going to want to do, and that's make a ladder match with Kalisto in it, given what he did in the tag match at TLC at the end of last year. Kalisto is easily going to win. This is pretty much a guarantee. I'd love Alberto Del Rio to win it, as much as he's been booked so horribly. I mean, literally, he's probably been booked as badly as the Big Show and Roman Reigns since coming back and shocking everyone and winning the United States Championship of John Cena. Didn't really help that his main opponent, John Cena, had injury afterwards, and then Kalisto came back and win the championship, and he's been going back and forward with him, and then he was in the League of Nations, and yes, just not go there with the League of Nations. Just horrible faction. So much potential, so badly done, but hey, that's like most things in WWE. But my prediction for this is that Kalisto is going to win this quite easily. It's going to put an end to the feud that they have, and it's going to mean that then Kalisto goes on to WrestleMania, probably to have some kind of ridiculously over the top, wacky ass ladder match where he's going to put someone through with the Salida del Sol, but probably eventually lose it to an up and comer. But that's just my predictions for now. More WrestleMania predictions at a later stage. Next match on the card is going to be AJ versus Jericho. Now, AJ Styles has had a massive impact. He wasn't really received with what I thought was the right reaction at the beginning. When the Royal Rumble, everyone was going crazy. And I'm so happy that he's debuted. But at the Raw afterwards and the events afterwards, he was kind of like given a really lukewarm reaction, as if, well, this guy just kind of came in, why should we be cheering him, when he is such an amazing performer. And Chris Jericho has been effectively brought in, and I'm guessing that's because it seems from a lot of the outside stuff that Chris Jericho and AJ Styles have been spending a lot of time together. I believe that he was actually recommended to go to DDP Yoga by Jericho, so I'm guessing this is like their way of getting AJ Styles into the WWE way of things. For me, as much as I would love to see AJ Styles win, I think his major win is going to come at WrestleMania. But I can see Jericho winning this one and turning heel. It's pretty much just written all across the match. I would be surprised if Jericho coming back now was not for some kind of match at WrestleMania. And I can see a Jericho heel turn, which obviously we've seen millions of times beforehand, but it's a way of getting AJ Styles sympathy from the fans. I see AJ Styles having an amazing match and going like hell to leather to beat Jericho, with Jericho only to effectively turn heel. I think that this feud isn't going to continue to WrestleMania, because maybe there'll be some kind of interference, or maybe Jericho's going to go after his Intercontinental Championship at WrestleMania. I can see AJ Styles and Jericho's feud continuing into another feud. There's like a multi-feud as such, with maybe a Fatal 4-Way match, or maybe Jericho getting the belt off of Owens or something, maybe in another Fatal 5-Way match, or whoever. But my prediction is Jericho, heel turn, wins, easy. Next match on the card is a Divas Tag Team match. Now, this is pretty much just a let's get Sasha Banks over and put Becky Lynch in something, because Team Bad Boss being great. Yeah, it's just Team Bad. So, Naomi and Tamina going up against Becky Lynch and Sasha Banks. Now, for me, still think back to the Royal Rumble and look at when Sasha Banks kicked Becky Lynch out of the ring. And I can't help but feel that maybe Becky Lynch is now in the right position with Sasha Banks coming in to maybe go up, maybe, I don't know, cost Sasha the match, not in a heelish way, but a way that puts over herself instead of Sasha Banks, which then leads to the WrestleMania event. I can't see Becky Lynch and Sasha Banks winning this one purely because of that tension between them. And let's be honest, WrestleMania is coming up. They need to think of something more interesting than, let's just say, Sasha versus Charlotte. I would imagine that Becky Lynch accidentally costs Sasha the match against Team Bad, which then leads to Sasha getting pissed with Becky, but Sasha then winning a #1 contendership match, and of course then Becky, Sasha and Charlotte somehow get into the main event of Mania. But it remains to be seen, but my guess is that Becky Lynch and Sasha Banks are going to lose this match to effectively put themselves over for Mania. If they win, it will be in some kind of fashion that means that Sasha Banks is pissed off with Becky. Either way, there is going to be some kind of way of involving both of those divas at WrestleMania. And talking about divas, let's move on to the Divas Championship match. Charlotte versus Brie Bella. Now, Charlotte has been getting all personal with Brie because that's how you make feuds, I'm guessing, nowadays. But so it's a little bit salty on Charlotte's part, but Brie obviously is in the main event because of one reason only, because A, she's retiring in the summer, and B, she is basically the first lady of Yes, which is Daniel Bryan's wife. Now, Daniel Bryan's wife, basically I'm just going to call her that because that's the reason she's in this event, is effectively going to go hell for leather against Charlotte, but I can ultimately see either Flair costing Brie, alternatively Charlotte winning clean, which then potentially leads to some kind of retirement angle, because it does seem as if Brie is going to be going very, very soon, although she has said the summer in some interviews recently. It doesn't seem that it's going to be that far away, and I could see it happening just after WrestleMania. I can't see them waiting until the summer unless she's waiting until Nikki Bella comes back. But yeah, I cannot see Brie Bella winning this match purely because it just seems geared up for Becky Lynch and Sasha Banks against Charlotte, or in a triple threat match at Mania. I can't see it happening that Brie wins and then takes it to Mania. If they gave it to Brie Bella, it would probably spark a bit of a negative reaction from the fans. So for that reason only, I'm saying that Charlotte's going to go to WrestleMania with the belt against Sasha and Becky, maybe even Paige, but it seems Paige has got her own issues going on at the moment. The next match of interest on the card is Ziggler versus Owens. Now, Owens having fresh off of beating in a Fatal 5-Way, which is something they've not used beforehand. I would have just personally done a Championship Scramble match, but they don't seem to like those anymore. Anyway, talking about Dolph Ziggler, who has been basically a thorn in Kevin Owens' side for a while. Honestly, I can't see this being a huge feud, which is going to result in anything of benefit coming from Dolph Ziggler, who, honestly, it just feels like he's just playing out the last days in the company. Can't see him being around for too much longer, given that WWE just don't want to use him the way that he should be used. And I'm guessing they have a concern over his health, and given the fact that he does get small injuries and he has had quite a few concussions as well, with a lot of the focus on injuries being on concussions. But what are your thoughts on that, on Dolph Ziggler? Because for me, he's just not being used the way he needs to be. A lot of people just called him a spot monkey in the past. I personally feel he's a great wrestler and he's a great performer. He gets a great reaction out of the fans, but there's only so much of a reaction you can get out of the fans before you basically turn into, the Big Show and suck. So yes, let's talk about the match. I can see Owens winning this match with a little bit of ease, maybe a little bit dirty to make it, a decent match, a decent storyline, maybe a rematch on Raw, maybe with some kind of triple threat at WrestleMania against AJ Styles and Chris Jericho, as I mentioned earlier on, possibly a triple threat match. That would be a match I think anyone would want to see. One of the last matches on the card, which I'm guessing will be towards the end, to create a little bit, because I just can't see this match ending cleanly or with a result. It's been too just patched together in places. Titans, or what they call the Titans, versus the Wyatt family, which is Ryback, Big Show and Kane, versus Luke Harper, Eric Rowan and Braun Strowman, with Bray Wyatt to the side. For me, it's just been destined to be one of those matches that is just set up at the last minute to create interest in something else. Whatever it's going to be, Bray Wyatt or the Wyatts are going to be involved with some kind of returning superstar or someone. I would probably say Ryback potentially being involved with someone who interferes in the match. Now, obviously, there's a lot of people who are being rumoured to return. For me, I can see it being potentially The Undertaker, who comes back to help out Kane, Big Show and Ryback, and maybe goes after Bray Wyatt again. That is obviously completely possible in creating some kind of work. But for me, it's just set up as a match that I can't really see it ending, cleanly. It just seems like a match that's been set up, and for me, this match would be something that would be on the pre-card with Bray Wyatt then doing something on the main card, not something that would be on the main show with Alberto Del Rio and Kalisto on the pre-show. It just doesn't really make any sense. It's just a match that's there to being there, and I'm imagining that some kind of WrestleMania feud is going to be built up from this. We'll just have to wait and see. And then we come down to the main event, which is the triple threat match between Brock Lesnar, Roman Reigns, and Dean Ambrose. Now, this is a match where you effectively are choosing between WWE pushing Roman Reigns more in your face, like they're smushing a cream pie into your nose, or alternatively, whether they're actually going to give Dean Ambrose a fucking push. I mean, come on, seriously. Yes, he's had the IC title, but the guy literally was... He was screwed over so many times last year in storylines that you just want him to win. He's the kind of guy you want to win, and the fans love him. But I have my two sides on this one. For me personally, I have what I want and what I feel is going to happen, and then what is probably likely to happen. Now, for this triple threat match, Brock Lesnar has basically put into this to effectively create some kind of mystery and some kind of, is Brock Lesnar going to go to WrestleMania? I cannot see Brock Lesnar having a major part in this match. He seems to kind of completely conk out of any energy after about 15 minutes of a match. And as we mentioned on one of my streams recently, he seems to just have a problem with going long ranges in matches. I would imagine he's very big in the first 5 to 10 minutes, throwing everyone around the ring. Dean Ambrose landing on his neck several times because... yay. And then Roman Reigns eventually Superman punches him to hell, and he ends up being out of the match for a considerable length of time. For me, Brock Lesnar is going to be in this match, I imagine, for Bray Wyatt to come out and then start the feud which goes on to WrestleMania. This has been in the making for a long time. That's probably the reason why Bray Wyatt isn't competing earlier on the night, is so that he can come in. He's going to be then basically picking on Lesnar to get Lesnar to react, which finally gets him their WrestleMania match. Now, when it comes to Roman Reigns is going to be obviously the odds-on favourite of anyone, because just it's Roman Reigns and he is the new John Cena. But again, want and feel. As I said, Brock Lesnar is obviously going to be a powerhouse. He's going to dominate everyone. And eventually Dean Ambrose and Roman Reigns are going to get him outside of the ring. And then Brock is going to be laid waste off, probably put through a couple of tables just to, for good measure, which then leaves Dean and Roman to effectively fight amongst themselves. There's two ways I feel this is going to go. And I mentioned this earlier about a fork. Now, for me, it's either going to be the left fork, which is going to be what I want and feel to happen, and what I feel is likely to happen, which is the right fork. Now, what is likely to happen is that Roman Reigns will win this match, which sucks entirely. Roman Reigns is not getting the crowd reaction. They've tried pushing him, and if you think for a second, even if Triple H literally kicked a baby into a crowd a la Snitsky on Raw, there is no way that Triple H at WrestleMania, the biggest event of the year, is going to get booed against Roman Reigns. It's just not going to happen. Given the work that Triple H is doing for NXT and most of the WrestleMania crowd being hard wrestling marks, it is just not possible, in my opinion, that Roman Reigns is going to go into that match and leave alive, unless he actually, abandons his idea to go through the crowd. Likely it's going to happen because WWE just seem to be completely out of ideas at the moment, and this is just a match that's thrown together to, make it awesome because Brock Lesnar's in there and he can create hell before he has his inevitable match against Bray Wyatt or someone else who is big at WrestleMania. But the simple fact of the matter is that this is likely to mean that Roman and Triple H go off against their WrestleMania, and we get another WrestleMania main event where the heel is likely to be cheered more than the face. Yay, it's John Cena versus Triple H all over again. Maybe Roman Reigns will learn a new submission move to shock everyone or something, I don't know. But now I'm going to be a little bit more positive. I'm going to talk about what I feel and what I want to happen. Now, this is my prediction. I personally can feel that Dean Ambrose is going to finally do it. Now, Dean Ambrose would be, for me, the best option, because I know that Adam from What Culture's mentioned this a couple of times, but I've been watching this over the last year, especially when he won the belt and had it taken away from him. From that moment onwards, it was like, why is this guy not the champion? I mean, seriously, the stuff he was doing with that belt, he just went elevated, like straight up to the top. The stuff he was doing with Seth Rollins and the Money in the Bank briefcase, he is a big time player. He maybe isn't the kind of image they're looking for, but maybe he is just the person who needs to be going over at this point before they get their big stars back. And maybe making another big star is probably the best thing that they can do at the moment. Having Dean Ambrose against Triple H at WrestleMania would be a match that everyone would want to see. Everyone would want to boo Triple H, which is what they're trying to get at. You heard still at the Royal Rumble, Roman Reigns got cheered when he went out of the Rumble match. So Dean winning this match. Now, there are two ways that I can see this happening with Dean Ambrose winning. And the first way is that out of the WrestleMania 31 main event, Brock Lesnar and Dean Ambrose, where Brock Lesnar just returned to the match after being taken out by Bray Wyatt, of having a little bit of a scuffle. Maybe Brock Lesnar has up Dean Ambrose. Dean Ambrose is just about to reverse it into Dirty Deeds. Roman Reigns come charging in with a spear from coming from the outside. Dean Ambrose moves out of the way. Roman Reigns goes into the concrete wall that is Brock Lesnar, and Brock sells it like he sold in WrestleMania 31, which is as stiff as a fucking post. With Dean Ambrose then picking up Roman Reigns, dropping him to Dirty Deeds and giving the pinfall, and the bros are back together again, and everyone's happy because Dean Ambrose has won. And personally, I cannot see the bromance between Dean Ambrose and Roman Reigns continuing for much longer. So for me, I'm going to say that what is more likely to happen if Dean Ambrose is to win is that Roman Reigns shows the elements of going heel. So Brock's out of the match. Roman is then starting to take in. He's starting to feel that desire to win. He's pushing and pushing and pushing. He's beating Dean Ambrose to a pulp, but he's not getting the pin. He's starting to get a little bit annoyed. He starts maybe to try and get some outside interference. He starts saying to Dean Ambrose, stay down. I just want to win. I don't want to hurt you. I don't want to hurt you. Dean Ambrose isn't listening. And as he goes to get himself a steel chair, either Brock Lesnar gets up and basically clocks him one, or alternatively F5s him, which leads to Dean Ambrose winning, and Roman goes ballistic. That happened. I can see Dean Ambrose making a very swift exit. So the crowd sells shock. Everyone's like, well, Roman surely had that and he's made a mistake. Roman can't get a job done on a big scene, and maybe he then kicks the crap out of Brock Lesnar. Maybe that sets up Roman versus Brock too, because at the moment, I'd say Brock versus Bray is pretty much confirmed, but hey, they could change it because Bray really hasn't been going for Brock for the last couple of weeks. Is it possible that Brock and Roman are going to go at it because Roman literally destroys Brock Lesnar afterwards, which again would make a huge, huge statement, especially with apparently this idea that someone from NXT or someone who's outside the WWE is going to face Taker at WrestleMania. Is that going to be something where potentially this is the way of turning Brock Lesnar into a huge, huge babyface, with Roman Reigns actually going heel? Because, again, I cannot see a WrestleMania where Brock Lesnar is booed against Roman Reigns. It's just not going to happen. The guy has too much poison behind him because he's the corporate guy who's going to win. We've also got the option potentially for triple threat at WrestleMania, but given we had that last year, I personally would go down the 1 versus 1 route with Dean Ambrose, Triple H at WrestleMania, which would be an awesome match. And after their Royal Rumble escapades, I'm sure that was a teaser for something. By God, if it's Roman Reigns, the boos will be deafening. But that's it for another episode of Let's Predict for Fastlane. Let me know what your thoughts and opinions are on the predictions, what your opinions are on your predictions for Fastlane in the comment section below. Make sure to leave a like on the video if you want to see more predictions videos. Remember to subscribe if you want to see more of these on a regular basis. And most importantly, if you haven't heard this before, then it's going to be real. So leave!